Hey, good morning, everybody. Still see a few people joining the call, so I'm going to give it just about another 30 seconds and we'll go ahead and get started. And while we're waiting for our final folks to connect, let me go over a couple quick housekeeping items for our webinar this morning. First off, all of the attendees on the call are muted. So do me a favor and locate your question panel in the GoToWebinar pane, and you will be able to type in any questions that you have throughout this presentation. We definitely want to keep it as interactive as possible. So chime right in and we'll be monitoring those questions throughout and we'll get your questions answered. We will probably go the full hour today. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. So good morning, happy Wednesday. This is Christy Kalabsky from the Tucker Training Department. I've got Victoria Thomas in the room with me as well. She's going to be watching all of those questions that come in, so don't forget to type those as you have them. So today is the first of our List to Last series. So part one is all about getting in front of more sellers. We are going to have 4 more webinar sessions Wednesdays throughout the month of July. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. And then a couple of videos that are going to go along with this series. So hopefully you get some good value out of today. And you keep tuning in. As always, this session will be recorded. We will send a link to that recording out with any supplemental materials we want to share within 24 hours, so be on the lookout for that. And then as always, and this is true for this series, this session today, and any of the other webinars that we do, if you register and for whatever reason you can't make it at the last minute, or you have to hop off early, that registration is going to be your ticket to get that link of the recording. So pass that word along to your friends. If for whatever reason you just have something going on and you can't join live, if you still register, we'll make sure that you get that link emailed directly to you. In addition, we'll always link those in the Buzz and the 2020 course catalog. Okay, enough housekeeping. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. So first off, I kind of want to set the stage as to what the purpose of this whole series is, and we'll kind of go through why this is all important. So why strive to be a strong listing agent? And feel free to type anything in the chat that isn't up on the screen and we'll give you a shout out. But some main reasons why that's really important, and especially important in this market. Number one, you have a contract with a seller, right? Where with a buyer, it's not quite as set in stone, but when you've got a listing contract, you're pretty much all but maybe guaranteed that you're going to get paid at the end of that transaction. So that's really number one and why that's most important. Number two, you have a lot more control over your schedule. So we all know, especially with the market the way it is right now, with buyers, a house comes up and we almost have to drop everything and run out and show houses. And I bet a lot of the folks on the call had maybe, unfortunately, some 4th of July holiday weekend plans upset or maybe disrupted or postponed because of something that came on the market that you had to drop everything and go show your client. So way more control of your schedule. Obviously, when you carry more listings, you're not running around showing houses all the time. So a lot more control of what you spend your time on. Of course, listings generate leads. We all know every listing is probably going to generate you at least 2 leads, sign calls, open houses, new buyers, neighbors that might want to list with you. And we'll talk more about how to sort of up that number throughout today. Obviously, another one is more control. So more control over the people that you work with, maybe the price point, neighborhoods that you want to specifically work in, geographic areas. So that's going to obviously help you with your time scheduling as well. When you have more control, maybe you can work in a neighborhood or an area that's very close to where you live or where your office is, or in a price point that you really like and have knowledge of. So more control. Helps you think differently about open houses. That's number 5. When you are maybe focused more on buyers, you're excited for buyers to walk into that open house. I think the mindset shifts a little bit when you strategically plan to be a strong listing agent, you're gonna really start to love those nosy neighbors that come in, because any of those folks that you meet and then can add to your database are potential listings down the road. So you're gonna think a lot differently working in those open houses and maybe focus more on the existing homeowners and how you can serve them in the future selling their home. Your efforts matter. Again, crazy market. We work really hard with buyers right now, unfortunately, and have a lot of strikeouts before we can maybe get a deal put together and get it closed. So with a listing, the work that you do tends to pay off a bit more. And then number 7, similar to controlling your schedule, but maybe not no more emergencies, but fewer emergencies. Again, you have a lot more control over what's happening in those situations, and less sort of, I feel like my hair is on fire. This is crazy. So those are sort of the underlying reasons why we really want to help. We put this series together. We want to set the stage today with helping you find more listings. It's all of these great reasons that we really want to help all of our FC Tucker agents become really strong on the listing side. Okay, so let's get to it. So here's what you can expect from this webinar training this morning. We are going to throw a lot at you. It's likely that you may feel overwhelmed with all of the ideas that we give you, and that's by design. We know that we're going to probably give you, however many ideas, 1 or 2, you're like, I tried that before, it doesn't work for me, or I just don't want to do that. That's fine. But we're going to give you a lot. But the goal is that you'll walk away with a handful of new ideas that maybe you haven't tried before, new tools that you haven't explored yet, that you think, okay, these are going to be kind of on my short list. I want to work these into my business in 2020, or maybe next year in 2021. But your challenge, and really where the rubber meets the road today, is we would really love for you to implement just 2 or 3 brand new ideas that seem to maybe think that they will work for you, and try to do it yet this month. So July is all about this listing series. We're heavily focused on it here in the training department. So again, take everything we throw at you today, pick your top 2 or 3, and if you can commit to implementing those over the next month, we think you're going to really see an upswing in your listing business. Okay, so first we're going to talk tools. So we're kind of breaking today down into 2 parts, so tools and tactics. And so tools are all of the things that are already available for you. And we know as realtors, there's a lot of tools out there, and there's always something new coming and rolling out. But we want to kind of explore some of these tools and make sure you have a good understanding about how it can help you build your listing business. So the very first tools that we're going to dive into today are the Tucker tools. So these are things exclusive to you guys here at the Tucker Company, and I'm not naming all of them by any means, but just a couple. I've got sort of the top 3 that will be helpful as you grow your business, and we're going to spotlight some of these here in just a second. But the first tool is Buyside. Buyside is that tool that we rolled out early last year, and it's a wonderful way for you to capture those folks that had previously gone to Zillow to try to figure out that age-old question of what's my home worth. So we're going to highlight Buyside here in just a second. The other ones that are exclusive to you as Tucker agents are the Tucker Toolbox. There's some wonderful tools on that toolbox. We want to make sure you know where to find them and how to use them. Tucker Perks is a newer one too. It rolled out just a couple months ago. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. And then one of the things that I probably would put the most value on is leveraging your team. And when we say team, I'm not talking about those agents that have an admin person and a buyer's agent and those huge, massive teams, right? Maybe we all aspire to be that someday, maybe not, but I'm talking about your Tucker team. So those are folks like the admin in your branch offices. How can they help you? And I'm hoping to sort of set the stage with this today as we talk through different tools and tactics. You could maybe think about, okay, that would be something that I could direct my branch staff to help me with, or maybe I could hire somebody to do this for me. It's also stuff like your manager. How can your manager help you? Are you sitting down and having coaching sessions with them? Are you having them help review your business plan? They're also part of your team. Beyond just whoever's in your branch office, think about the agent support center where Victoria and I are sitting today. You have so many people on your team that can help you. So it's the marketing department, us in the training department, relocation, business services, all of that stuff. Recruiting would love to have you refer agents, and that can help you provide another source of income. So you have so many folks on your team. I want you to start thinking strategically about how you can direct some of that to work for you and help you with your business and help you ultimately build that business. And don't forget too about Tucker Mortgage and Title Services. Those folks are building businesses just like you are. So make sure that you are thinking about how to implement them and help you find more sellers. Those are the Tucker tools. And like I said, we're going to dig deeper into some of these here in just a second. I'm not going to spend a ton of time today on the MyBoard or the board tools that are available. We are going to spend a bit of time on Homesnap because that's a really, really cool one. But you guys also have Remind and Realist, of course, great ways for you to dig into property records, see who owns homes, and get some additional information about them. We will talk more about Homesnap here in a second. Social media, of course, a huge one. If you're not on social and you're not using it to build your business, you are missing out, and we don't even want you to spend any money on social media. We're going to talk about Facebook and creating friend lists in just a few minutes. Instagram and Facebook, showing who you are to help attract more people is obviously very, very important. And then we will talk a lot about Nextdoor today. That's a really great tool. Again, if you're not using it, you should be. It's that uber local networking that you can do right within your own neighborhoods and communities that is kind of drilled down further than Facebook or Instagram would be. And then the other one, which is worth mentioning, we're not going to go into a ton of detail about the last one, but just life in general. Like, it's all about seeing and being seen. A little harder these days, but it's still possible. But figuring out who are your people and where are they? Are they at church? Are they at your kid's school? Are they a wine group that you've now had to move to Zoom calls because you like to drink wine and chit chat? Whatever it happens to be, that's where you need to be. So really being strategic about who are my people and being in front of them. Okay, so let's start digging into some of these tools a little bit deeper. So this first one is a Tucker tool, Buyside, and this is the one I said we rolled out just about maybe 18 or so months ago here at the Tucker Company. And we have plenty of supplemental classes for all of these topics should you want to dig in and do like an actual how-to video for Buyside or for any of the tools we talk about today. So why I love Buyside. It is a way for you to direct homeowners, potential sellers, to a specific website. Every Tucker agent has their own Buyside site, and I put that URL up on the screen, highlighted in yellow. And once they get there, they see this widget, as you can see on the screen, what is your home worth? And then they'll type in, hopefully, their property address to figure out what's their home worth. And we all know, Zillow is a, multi-billion-dollar company for a reason. They have really kind of brought that to the forefront, the whole Zestimate thing. And we all know that a Zestimate isn't really very accurate, but y'all know consumers are still talking about that Zestimate all the time because it has been marketed so well by Zillow. And why do consumers love it? Because they don't have to bug you as a realtor to get a home valuation if maybe they're not really ready yet. But the key is, just because they're not ready now doesn't mean they won't be in 3 months, 6 months, or a year. So I would really encourage you guys as agents to do as to what Frank's Red Hot says in their slogan. Put that on everything. Put that home value URL on everything that you do. So I'm talking stuff like just listed postcards, just sold postcards. Those are sent to homeowners. So wouldn't it be helpful if you added a little blurb that said something like, I just listed 123 Main Street for $250,000. Curious what your home is worth. Find out now at homevalues.talktotucker.com/Christy.Kolabski. that's my particular URL. You're welcome to use it, and I would absolutely love to take all of your leads, but you should use the one with your name, and that's going to direct them to a site where they'll see your lovely face with this widget. And then anyone that types a property address in, you will get notified, and you'll have their name and their home address. So that's a really good way for you guys to start building up your potential listing, your potential listings, right? So those folks you can add to your database, you can follow up with them, you can just start putting them in your regular automated drip campaigns, anything that you typically do to market to your database. Now you have new leads and a new funnel of folks getting added to that list. So like I said, that's what Buyside is and what it can do for you. I'm not going to click around and show you exactly how to do all this today. We have other recorded classes for that, but Buyside is a very, very wonderful tool that can absolutely help you get in front of more sellers.
Hey, Christy.
Yes, Victoria, I'm sure we had a question.
I didn't have a question, but Krista brought up a great point. She said that she loves how she can set up potential clients on a monthly email that updates their home values and shows it increasing each month. And I think that's a great way to keep those people thinking about selling. So that maybe they're not ready to list yet, but they're seeing their property value increase and increase every month over time. I think that's a great idea.
Yes, and I love that, Krista. Thank you so much for sharing. So what she's talking about is a consumer can set up in Buyside to receive monthly updates, but you guys can do it as the agent too. So maybe your A-list clients or folks that you've met at an open house that are thinking about selling in the future, you can go in there and enter their address and sign them up for those monthly automated updates. And gosh, we are so lucky. We have been for a number of years in this market where we're just seeing home values go up and up and up. And I gotta tell you, I love my house and I am not moving. I say that probably once a week, but it's pretty exciting to see the numbers go up. And it does make me think in the back of my head, man, I could make some money if I sold this place. So don't underestimate the power of that. And I love that too. We're gonna talk more about automation later, but that's a great, great tip. Any other questions that came in, Victoria?
Not specifically about Buyside. No, we're good.
Okay, awesome. So that's Buyside. Put that blank on everything. Okay, the next tool spotlight is Tucker Toolbox. Hopefully you guys are in Tucker Toolbox with some sort of frequency. This win a listing button is relatively new, probably within the last, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks. It's really cool because your listings as Tucker agents are going to automatically flow into Tucker Toolbox. So you can see next to win a listing is an actual listing I have live right now. So I could click on that and go in and do some specific marketing for that listing. But the topic of today is about winning listings, right? So right next to any of your active listings is this win a listing section. And when you click on it, you have different areas of some work that you can do to go out and get that next listing. So the first one is home value. That's Buyside. We just talked about it. So it's just reminding you of like, hey, don't forget, Buyside's amazing. Listing presentation, there's a direct link to the listing presentation so you can hone and tweak your listing presentation. Highly recommend that. There's also some marketing tools for expireds and for sale by owners. We're not even going to really talk too much about expireds and for sale by owners because you guys are experienced agents and you know how to go out there and work those. That's kind of a class for another day, but there is some really great marketing pieces right there under those sections for marketing directly to expired listings or for sale by owners. And I'm not knocking those at all. Those are a wonderful way to get listing inventory built up. Some hard work involved, but it absolutely can pay off. So those are there as well. And then the next one that I love, I think it might be my next slide, yep, is Tucker Perks. So this is another one that's newer. And Tucker Perks is a great way for you to provide value and stay in front of really anyone in your database, but I think homeowners specifically, because what Tucker Perks is it's sort of a back end system for you to get your clients set up and linked to you on the Tucker website. But the cool thing too about Tucker Perks is it's connected with home services. So you could promote Tucker Perks by saying, hey, we have relationships with all of these wonderful vendors, and a lot of them offer discounts on services or free consultations or or some other kind of great benefit because you're a potential Tucker client, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer. So check them out. And Tucker Perks is great because if you click on it, and you guys all have access to this through the toolbox today, you've got these social media posts. So you could download these graphics and say, hey, because I'm a realtor and I want to take care of my people, I've got this affiliation with all these great vendors, reach out to me if you need anything. It's just a great way to stay in front of folks, provide value, and of course, you're helping connect them with insured and vetted vendors that some of them offer some really great discounts. So Tucker Perks is a great new program. It's just helping put that home services stuff at the forefront. Beyond the social media post, there's also a flyer. Would be a great thing to print and take to an open house or mail to your database. Just again, of course, reminding your people that you are their go-to. You are their expert when it comes to not just buying and selling homes, but getting new carpet or getting carpets cleaned or a new roof, whatever it might be. You are their go-to person. So consider really exploring Tucker Perks and getting that word out there again to be the expert in that area. Okay, Homesnap, we're shifting gears. This is a MyBoard or a board provided tool that you guys all have. And if you haven't yet explored Homesnap, you really should. It is slick. So Homesnap there's an agent version of the app, and there's also a consumer version of the app. I would just, for now, focus on using it as an agent because there's some really cool information that you can garner out of Homesnap all for free. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. And we recently did some Homesnap trainings, which would have been linked in the buzz, and we probably will have more coming soon. It's a really, really awesome program. So first off, I would suggest going out there and downloading the app. So it's just Homesnap, search for that in your App Store or your Google Play Store, get it downloaded, and then you'll actually log in as an agent. And what that's going to give you, one of the coolest things about Homesnap, you guys, is being able to apply these filters to an area, to a neighborhood, to a city, however small or big you want to drill down. And you can see certain things like how long someone has lived in their home, how old their mortgage is. You can even see what their mortgage rate is. Talk about a great benefit to your past clients or your sphere to say, oh my gosh, you guys are at 4.5%. Mortgage rates are at 3 or less right now. You got a refi. I mean, that's just a really great value add, but it's another great way to see who's most likely to list their home. And that's going to play right into what we're talking about today, helping you guys find more sellers. So it's going to help you, again, add more people to that list of who's going to maybe be selling their home in the next 6 months, 18 months, whatever. So how you do that is by filters, and you can do that in the Homesnap app. And one of the other MyBoard tools that I mentioned back on that original screen was Remine. If you guys remember Remine and Homesnap are really similar to me, but the reason I almost like Homesnap better is you get more for free. So there is you can pay to use Homesnap at a higher level. I think it's like 99 bucks for the year right now, so it's really not that expensive, but I would explore the free thing first. And I think you get more, where Remine sort of capped you at how many people you could track and what you could see as far as likelihood to list, mortgage age, ownership time, all that good stuff. Homesnap really lets you drill in specifically. And Victoria and I really, when we were doing a training one day, we really dug in my neighborhood, and I was pulling up my neighbors and looking at, oh my gosh, what's their interest rate? Is the ownership information accurate, as I know who my neighbors are? And it was, and they even include phone numbers and email addresses and all this really good information that's going to really help you build your database. And these are homeowners. So these are people that will likely be listing at some point. So check out Homesnap and watch the Buzz for more trainings on that. And like I said, we do have some recorded stuff, but it's an awesome, awesome tool. I'm going to pause really quick. Do we have any questions about Homesnap or anything else?
Cass was actually asking about if you thought it was worth it to pay for that premium service. And I think you kind of covered that. There's so much that you can do for free before, you know, you start giving away your dollars that, you know, maybe see what there is first before paying. I think there's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
And then Cher just asked, is Homesnap available on laptops and desktops? And I don't believe it is, Cher. I think it is just a mobile app.
I actually think it is, Victoria.
Oh,
so yeah, you can just go to homesnap.com and you just need to log in with the same credentials you would for the app. When you go to homesnap.com, it says like login, and there's one for agent. And I believe I haven't played with it as much on the desktop because the app is pretty darn slick. But if you're more of a desktop user, don't let that stop you. I believe it is available. And the other thing that Homesnap is that isn't necessarily so helpful to us as Tucker agents, but it's worth mentioning. It is also a home searching tool for consumers. So Homesnap would love consumers to use Homesnap versus Realtor.com, Zillow, etc. We, of course, as Tucker agents, want to encourage them to use TalkToTucker.com. So maybe worth exploring, but I really like it as an agent tool. And then just circling back to Cass's question really quick about paying, with really any tool, I would encourage you guys, get comfortable and familiar and wear the heck out of it, the free version. And then if you're wanting more, then pay for it. But there's no reason to go out there and spend, what did I say, 99 bucks if you haven't even used the free version yet, because I'd hate for you to get busy or find that it just doesn't work for you and now you're out the money. So make sure that you find that there's some value there.
I got confirmation from Mark. He says that he uses both the desktop and the mobile version of Homesnap and he loves it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Cool. All right. Love Homesnap. Okay. We're going to shift gears to social media a little bit. So goes without saying, social media can be a really wonderful way, mostly for you to stay top of mind with your people. And that's what it's all about, right? Being visible, see and be seen. That's how people are going to remember you and use you when the time comes. But the tool that I wanted to highlight for you today are friend lists. So if anyone on the call uses these friend lists, please chime in and let us know how it's working for you. But this is liquid gold, you guys. So here's a scenario that you could do. You could create a likely to move friend list, and this is just from your regular old personal Facebook account. And you could put folks in there that are maybe just got engaged, just got married, just had their first kid, their youngest just went off to college, they just retired, they're dreaming of moving somewhere warmer, whatever it might be. You could start adding those people that are already your friends to these specific lists and then do specific things with those lists. So you could filter your news feed by just that list. Again, being engaged with them, seeing what's going on in their lives, commenting, reaching out, etc. But these are some really great lists for you guys to consider creating, all free. The other thing you could do, I like the likely to move because that sort of goes along with our find more sellers topic, but you could also just put any past clients on a list. So you make sure that you're seeing those milestone moments in their lives, right? When they do have that baby or when they get all excited because they just painted their kitchen cabinets and they want to post it on Facebook and show their friends how cool it looks. Any of that stuff. So we all know with Facebook, the algorithms get a little funky. Sometimes you're not, well, not sometimes, you're not seeing all your friends' stuff all the time. So create these lists so you don't miss anything. And we're going to talk a little bit later in the tactics section about how to be really strategic with connecting with your folks via social media. And I always love to say, you know, kind of stalk them online and then respond offline. So it's great help. It could be great help for you guys as far as who am I going to write notes to this week, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to do all of that engagement on social media, but it's a really good window into your people's lives and sort of what's happening. So friend lists are really simple to create. I just sort of put on the side what you do on the left side of your screen. If you're on your, I think you can only do these from your desk. I think you can create them only from your desktop. Don't quote me on that, but you can see them on your mobile device, but I think you have to create them from your desktop. On the left side, you'll see friend lists. You click on create new list, and then you just name your list and you just start adding people to it. Okay, so check that out. Did anyone comment that they've used friend lists and had any luck with it?
I haven't had anybody. Claire recommended that she said that friend lists are great and that she loves them. So
cool. Thanks, Claire. Okay, the next social media tool that we're going to highlight today is Nextdoor, and this goes along the same line sort of as Facebook. It's just about being visible. The thing I love about Nextdoor is it's uber local networking. So for those of you that maybe aren't as familiar with Nextdoor, once you download the app, you put in your home address, and then you'll be actually mailed a postcard with a code to kind of complete your registration. So basically what's happening is they're verifying where you live because you're connected with your neighborhood. So I live in Carmel, but my Nextdoor isn't all of Carmel. It's Brookshire, which is like a, you know, sort of tighter area of maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 neighborhoods. So it's uber local. So I'm really connected with my people that live near me. So, you know, it's, and you know, you guys know Nextdoor, sometimes it gets a bad rap. It's the, my dog hates the fireworks, or, you know, who chalked my driveway. Sometimes it's kind of that whole thing, but I would encourage you guys to be a helper on Nextdoor. So you can, you know, I liked this, I kind of screenshotted something that I saw just on mine, looking for a contractor. I see that all the time, and it's so helpful. You guys, we have home services, or maybe you have your favorite contractor that you love to refer business to. Comment, be a helper, help folks. You see all the time, I'm looking for a realtor, or I have storm damage, I need to get something, an estimate on my roof. You see that kind of stuff all the time. So be positive, be a helper. I would encourage you not to necessarily engage in the more negative chatter, if you can imagine what I'm saying, but it's just a way for you to see and be seen. People will see your name. You can talk real estate, you can provide value. One of the newer features on Nextdoor, they're now featuring real estate, and Tucker listings are actually showing up on Nextdoor. So now folks can even search for homes on Nextdoor. Go where the people are. So I would encourage you guys to explore, be visible, and just get on there and kind of check it out. The other one that I loved on Nextdoor is you can join and even create groups. So I was playing around yesterday and I saw, like in my neighborhood, there's a wine drinking ladies group, and I was like, sign me up for that. So just a cool way for you to expand your network, be very visible in not just your community, but in your neighborhood. So check that out. Businesses can be featured. People are using Nextdoor right now, kind of like a Craigslist too, for selling items, which is kind of neat. So many options for how you could translate this into business, but really it's mostly about being seen, and that will inevitably lead to business. So check out Nextdoor. Okay, so a quick recap of the tools that we had talked about at the very beginning. We've already talked Buyside, we talked Toolbox, we did talk about leveraging your team. I didn't have a specific slide for that. For the MyBoard tools, we went into a little bit more detail with Homesnap. I didn't with Remine and Realist, but those of course are great tools for you to check out on your own, or just maybe get more familiar with. And then we talked about Facebook, creating groups. We talked about Nextdoor as uber local networking. We didn't talk about this too much, but with Instagram and Facebook, just a really great way for you to show who you are to attract more people like you, because that's the name of the game with finding sellers. You want to work with people like you, or that are in the stage of life like you, something like that. So show who you are, be transparent, be positive, be a helper, but that's a great way for you to stay top of mind. And then in life, who are your people? Where do they hang out? Be there. Questions on tools before we shift to tactics, Victoria?
I haven't had any questions, but Angela gave another great idea for those friend lists on Facebook. She said people who have children graduating in the next 2 years set it up as kind of like a long drip campaign to get them thinking about, you know, once the kids are out of the house, are we looking to move? Do we need to downsize? Do we, you know, things like that.
I love that. Friend lists, the sky is seriously the limit. So check that out. Okay. So just a quick recap before we switch gears. I would encourage you to think through, okay, what one or maybe two tools am I going to explore, implement? Or maybe you thought about how could I be a little bit more intentional with a tool that I already use? And then here's my question for you guys. What tool did we not talk about that is a gold mine for finding listings? We would love for you to share that. You don't want to share that if it's working that well. But feel free to chime in. And then just one final shout for questions on tools, and we're going to switch gears to tactics.
Cher says that her go-to tool is Remine.
Love it. Thank you, Cher. Cool. All right. Hopefully your wheels are spinning. Okay. So let's talk tactics. So you have like a whole other way to help find more sellers. And this is really just mining deeper into some stuff that maybe you already have. So the first one is consistency while working with your database. We're going to talk a lot about that one. Automation, totally key, you guys. If you don't have anything yet automated in your business, I would really encourage you to get at least something automated. We'll talk about the number of touches that we encourage you to have happening, and so much of that you can automate, which is really great because we get busy, we don't have time for stuff. Farming, we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. And then of course, whatever we do, it's helpful to think about providing value. Okay, so consistency is probably my favorite one in this area. So if you've ever been to a marketing class or you went through LEAP or anything like that, you know that successful agents that have really good businesses, repeat business, referral business, they're typically touching, and by touching, I mean seeing and being seen, right? The people within their database 30 some times a year, okay? That seems like a lot, but it's that consistency that keeps that agent top of mind. So when there is a need for buying or selling, or they have a referral, it's Christy Kalabsky that comes to mind and not Joe Smith that has a sign in the yard down the street, okay? So the first one that you can set up to be consistent, and a lot of this goes in, this kind of goes along with automation, the Tucker CRM. The first one is your monthly newsletter. So within Tucker CRM, you have a pre-written for you monthly newsletter. It goes out monthly, so there we have 12 right there. If you don't use the Tucker CRM, but use another CRM, there might be something there. Maybe you create your own newsletter, whatever it is that you do, just strive for that sort of 12 touches. And the CRM version that I'm talking about is an e-newsletter. So that's delivered via email. You could print that and you could mail it. You could write it and mail it. You could write it and email it, whatever you want to do. But that monthly newsletter is one good way to just consistently touch people every month. The other one, of course, just only Tucker agents have access to this, lucky us, is your monthly market watch. So that's that piece that is written. It's a press release that goes out every month. There's 2 versions of it now. So there's a really pretty infographic version of it that talks about the average sale price in Central Indiana, you know, what interest rates are, information like that, what the inventory is. And that, again, that can go out in an e-version, maybe emailed. It can be mailed, printed and mailed. You could, if you do the version that I'm speaking of for our metro agents, it kind of lumps all of the counties in together. But if you do a lot of business in a specific area, maybe Hendricks County, let's say, you could pull a couple stats from Hendricks County and send that to your people there, because that's information that's going to mean more to them. But people love that market data, so get it out. We also have a monthly market watch. That infographic can be posted on social media. So think about posting it on social media as well, because again, it's a way to be consistent, provide value. You'll start to set that expectation with your friends and your past clients and your database of Christy's going to be my source for this information. I'm going to see it every month. I'm going to see what's happening in the market. So again, you're consistent, you're the source, seeing and be seen, all good. Birthdays, that's depending on the household size, at least one per year, one touch per year. We'll talk about automating that in a minute. The happy home anniversary, like I love that one. That's a great way for your past clients, especially for you to reach out and say, oh my gosh, can you believe it's already been 5 years? Maybe you saw a project that they completed on social media and you could shout out about that. So that home anniversary is a great touch for you to get consistently implemented. A great way too for you to talk about what has happened over the past year in their neighborhood with home prices, all that good stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about these client connect mailers. Oh, there they are. Oops. We'll talk about those in a second. Those CCC mailers, those are available on Tucker Toolbox. That could go out. You can set it up as much as you want. You can set it up monthly, quarterly, twice a year, whatever. But I just put 4 to kind of help get us to that 30. Handwritten notes are another great one. We all know the benefit of those. We're in real estate, right? This is my pro tip that I alluded to when we talked social media before. I like the idea of seeing what's going on with people's lives online and responding offline. So instead of getting lost in that sea of, gosh, I saw one over the weekend that was like 500 comments or something, like that's an amazing person. But instead of getting lost in all those comments or all those likes, write a handwritten note. It's a great way for you to set yourself apart. And again, see and be seen. They know that you saw what had happened in their life and that makes them feel good to get a note in the mail. So I would suggest a minimum of 2 notes per year to your database. Face-to-face, of course, great. It's getting a little easier to do that with lunches and coffees, networking, social events, client appreciation events, and then voice-to-voice. So good old-fashioned picking up the phone, and hopefully you guys took a lot of advantage of that over the quarantine when people were home and they were available, they were lonely and they were scared, things were crazy. So that was a great time to pick up the phone. Okay, so that's consistency. The one that sort of goes along with consistency is automation. So what can you automate in all of those touches to help make your life a little easier? Because touching all your people 30 times a year seems overwhelming. So up first is Tucker CRM. So Tucker CRM is a tool that you can automate that market watch that we talked about. You can automate that monthly newsletter that we talked about. You can automate birthday reminders, move-in anniversary reminders, all of that great stuff. Those CCC mailers, here they are again. This is Client Connect. I think it's Client Connect in color or something like that. So these are available on Tucker Toolbox. There is a cost to these because they are a beautifully printed mail piece that can go out to your whole database or a specific group from your database. But the cool thing about these, they are created by MS Communications, same company that writes for Indianapolis Monthly. So really, really great content. But they're basically display-worthy pieces that we're hoping when you mail them, they stick around for a while. They're not just oh, I got another piece of junk mail, toss. It's a football schedule or a farmers markets around town to visit over the summer, or concerts. Hopefully we have those again someday, stuff like that. So it's display worthy pieces that are branded to you. And the hope is that those folks that receive them will not just toss them after one quick glance, but they might put them up on their fridge or in their office or wherever they like to keep information as far as activities around town. So those client connection pieces are awesome. And the other thing I really like about them is you can pick how often you want those to go out. So I think in my example before I said quarterly, I had 4 touches with these, but you could do them monthly if you want, just depending on your budget and the size of your database, maybe check those out. So that's on the toolbox. The just listed and just sold emails that come from digital marketing, that is a great way for you to automate and sort of ties in that leverage your team So when I get those emails, when I have a new listing, I get this awesome email from FC Tucker and it says, hey, congrats on your new listing, Christy. Check it out here online. Here are some just listed postcards you could mail out. Here's a Facebook post that you could share. It's got all of that stuff right in one place, and it reminds me of all that stuff I need to now do to market my listing, hopefully get more listings. And when we talk about leveraging your team, think about what you can maybe have your branch staff in your office help you with. So I love a just listed postcard. When I get that email, it's my trigger to reach out to my office and say, hey, can we get a just listed postcard sent to 100 homes in the neighborhood? Don't forget to add my Buyside link, so hopefully those home owners check the value of their home. Or maybe it's adding the links to your virtual tour on MyBoard. So it is just a reminder for you to do all of that stuff. And it's in a way that's kind of automated, so you don't have to run the risk of forgetting to get something out because you got busy or life happened. Same thing with just sold postcards, or I'm sorry, just sold emails. You will also get an email when your property closes. So it's a great time to, again, maybe leverage your team and say, okay, now let's do the just sold postcards. Let's do that social media post. Let's do all of that stuff that's important to keep marketing to other homeowners. So a great example on a just sold postcard, especially right now in this crazy market, you could say something instead of just a, hey, 123 Main Street just sold, yay me. Maybe you say something like, just sold 123 Main Street in 24 hours, $10,000 over list price. Curious what your home is worth? Find out now at homevalues.talktoher.com/Christy Class, or call me or whatever. So that's just a great way to provide some additional value to that potential seller. Okay, Google Calendar and setting up reminders. Don't underestimate the power of your Google Calendar. The thing I love about Google Calendar and the Tucker CRM is you can have those integrated. So for example, you might have a client birthday in your CRM. If you link your calendar, it's going to show up on your Google Calendar as well, which that's how I like to function. When I see that it's Mary Smith's birthday today, I'm going to call her or text her or whatever that day. So that's just a great way for those systems to talk to each other to make sure you don't miss out on anything. Same thing with move-in anniversaries. Just a reminder, calendar, a reminder for you to get your December tax exemption reminder out to all your buyers for the year. Just put it on your calendar, December 1st or what have you. And then that January tax letter is another really great one. So sending your settlement statements out because folks are going to need those for when they file for their taxes. So put that stuff on your calendar. It's a powerful thing. Don't just say you're going to do it and then, oh my gosh, the month goes by and you're like, oh, is it too late? Would it be weird if I send it out now? Calendar it. Okay. And don't hesitate to leverage your team again to help you. Maybe you provide them with the letter and the list and they do the mail merge for you or what have you. So leverage your team whenever you possibly can. Any questions on automation or consistency, Victoria?
I don't have many questions, but Barb just pointed out that she sent out one of the CCCs for the 4th of July, and it had a recipe for strawberry truffles, and she knows that her neighbors have it posted up on their fridge.
Love it. Rock on. Yeah.
And her name is posted up there too.
Yeah. And the posting on the fridge is key. It's not so much what the piece says, which content is good, but it's that they keep it and you're staring at them in the face every time they open that fridge. That's the goal, right? Okay. Another tactic that maybe some of you already do or you'd like to get better is farming. And my key here is just for you to be strategic with where you farm, because farming takes time and it may take money. If you're doing mailers or you're spending time doing open houses in a particular area, it can be a little lengthy and maybe a little costly. So be specific about it. So some things to think through, what area do you want to grow your business? What price point? Maybe you're sort of stuck in a price point and you really want to move to that next level. Start farming in that next level of neighborhood. Where do you have expertise? I always tell the new agents, start where you really know the product. If it's your own neighborhood or a neighborhood you grew up, that's going to come across. Where are your people? If I'm a mom with 2 kids, like I'm going to probably farm in neighborhoods of families that have families, because I'm going to connect with those people and I know about life and the things that are important to them. So all that good stuff. One other thing to consider is turnover rate. You know, does a particular neighborhood where you're farming, do people stay there for a really long time, or is it shorter? If on average people stay for 5 to 7 years, is it maybe 3 or 4? That'd be a great neighborhood to farm because you're getting a lot of turnover. Or maybe it's a higher price point, it might be longer. So just something to consider. No right or wrong, but think it through. And then what kind of homes are you passionate about? You know, we've got agents here at Tucker that just are passionate about a certain type of architecture or type of home or era that the home was built in. And they just doubled down and went all in, and they're now an expert in that arena. So I know if anyone has a mid-century modern home to sell, I'm sending them to Kelly Huff because she has really built a business around that type of product, and she knows it well. She knows the architects, she knows all of that key stuff that, you know, she's just doubled down on that. So pick something and get really, really great at it. Okay, the other one is, of course, you know, our age-old question, you know, what are we doing that's providing value? Not just saying, hey, I just sold this home, you know, giving those homeowners a little bit more information. What did it sell for? How long was it on the market? Blah, blah, blah. I love quarterly neighborhood stats, especially if you're doing farming of a particular area. That's a value added piece that can be helpful for them as they see, wow, home prices in my neighborhood are really increasing. This might be the time to sell. I love number 2, the annual CMA and Happy Home Anniversary are kind of my favorites. If you're not reaching out to your past clients on their home anniversary and providing them some sort of value, you're really missing out. This is probably the number one thing that gets people calling me instead of me calling them, because you're congratulating them. It's, you've been in your home a year or 5 or 10. Wow, remember when the kitchen had pink carpet when you bought it? Just saw your post on Facebook, and those new luxury vinyl plank floors look great in there. You know, whatever it happens to be, but they're getting value. They're seeing what's happening in their area. Promote home services kind of goes along with Tucker Perks. You're not just a realtor to buy and sell, but you can advise on home improvement projects, which a lot of people are doing and continuing to do right now during this crazy pandemic, which is interesting. But you know a guy, you have a guy for everything. So get that word out there that you're that resource. Financial tools, such a good time to remind folks to refinance. It seems like everybody's refinancing, but there's still a lot of folks that it's just not on their radar for whatever reason. So provide that kind of value. I love the just listed, just sold postcards, the annual real estate reviews. We have a speaker in LEAP that always talks about, you know, you sit down with your accountant once a year, you sit down with your dentist twice a year, you sit down with these people that are experts in your life, your financial advisor. Why not sit down with your clients or your A-list clients and advise them, you know, would that bathroom renovation add value to their home or not? What's it worth? What, you know, could it be worth if this? So really, really great practice to implement. Sharing articles or statistics of relevance, and then investment info. Great, you know, conversations around building wealth in real estate. A lot of people have that on their radar. So think of ways that you can help them or point them in the right direction should they have questions. So that's our providing value slide. Okay, we covered a lot again. Hope you're still with us. We're getting to the top of the hour. So we talked about consistency, we talked about automation, farming, providing value. Hopefully you have an idea or two to take away. While this slide is up, I'll let you type in any questions. Did we miss anything that we should have talked about? Hopefully your wheels are spinning with maybe being a little bit more intentional or implementing a new tool or tactic. And then of course, type in any questions that you might have about any of this stuff. We'll be glad to answer them. I know I talk fast. I hope I didn't lose anybody. This will be recorded. You can watch it again. Okay, so as we're sort of wrapping up, and we'll definitely stick around till 11 for questions. If you found today valuable, what am I trying to say? Oh my gosh. Tune in next week, Wednesday, same time, 10 a.m. We're going to talk about knowing your value and how to articulate your value, and also the value of FC Tucker. So the topic next week is a realtor they can't refuse. So we basically want to set you up for when you get in front of all these sellers and you have all these new listing appointments and conversations with people. How can you best articulate why they should work with you and why they should work with FC Tucker? So that's the topic next week. All of the topics, of course, are listed in the Buzz. This is going on through the month of July. We would love to see you guys again. All right, last call for questions, V.
Amanda asked if we registered for this session, are we automatically registered for the next ones?
You are not. Each session is separate, so you will have to hop in the Buzz and register. And when we send out the recording, probably tomorrow, we'll also put a quick link for you to register for the future sessions, just so you have those handy. Great question.
Lindsay asks, neighborhood stats, market watch, and newsletter are all found in the Tucker CRM. Yes, they are, Lindsay.
And I would say too, with like your neighborhood stats, that kind of information, that's going to be a great use for realist. If you are looking to get names and addresses to farm, we didn't talk a ton about realist, but you guys all know that you can really mine a ton of information out of there. Neighborhood stats, I would just do like CMAs out of Matrix to figure out, you know, how quickly or slowly homes are selling, price points, etc. So that could be a combination. Utilize your staff for that one too. They've probably helped other agents do something similar, and they might be able to give you some ideas as far as formatting it or how to put that all together. You know, the key is always less is more. So what can you give to people that's valuable that isn't a report they have to read through? So I would encourage you guys to leverage your staff on that one as well.
Cool. Mary Ann asked about next door. Can she join any neighborhood? You cannot, Mary Ann, because it specifically wants to know your residence. So it's only going to let you join that neighborhood. But you can kind of see surrounding neighborhoods as you sort of work through next door. You'll see maybe like the neighborhood next to yours. You'll get some of that content as well. But you can only join your neighborhood.
Correct.
Angela asked, is there Homesnap training through Tucker? We've had a couple of sessions, Angela. They are linked in the Buzz, the course catalog, and they're on our YouTube page. And like Christy said, I think we'll probably have some more coming up because we've had a lot of interest in it. Bruce asked, where do you suggest for improving knowledge of the CRM? We have a lot of recorded sessions on that as well, Bruce, and you can kind of find those in some of the same places I just suggested. Feel free, you can always shoot Christy or I an email too. If you're looking for some extra training, I can point you in the right direction. Yes, Cher, she asked about the CRM as well. Check out our YouTube, check out the course catalog. There's lots of recorded stuff available.
Awesome.
Cool. Peggy really loves your home values tagline, so.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. As promised, we are just at an hour, so have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Go out there and find more listings. See you next week.